Sunday, take after church and brunch after church at my sister's.
Hi, good.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Had a hot
You
flash.
okay there?
Had a hot flash for a second.
We kind of wait on you.
I know. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda then.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay.
Steve.
Minutes approved. Communications.
Yesterday was Easy Cog. I was listening. Kevin was there in person, so he could tell you about it. Since that was a good job listening. So he knows I was listening. I sent him a picture. We also had an employee call me, worried about the ending fund balance. Like Abby to give us some insight on that, how to read it better.
Yeah. So the concern was that we were sitting on too much money. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Okay. So I had the auditor's office get me the budget fund balance worksheet to see where we were. And the general fund went down from the year prior from
General fund ending balance. Okay.
It went down from the year prior, but so when we budgeted, after we did the amendments, we expected to have 4.3 million in there. And we ended the year with 4.6 million, so 300,000 over, which really is that's not very much at all. Then the general supplemental, we estimated 1.2 million and we came out with 1.293. So not much at all over there.
Over better than under.
562 in the rural services and we came out at 578. So those are the three main funds that we use to raise taxes. So if rumors continue to go around about us having an astronomical amount of money from last year, we can squander that with the facts here.
We have to have over because we never know what's gonna break.
Right.
Well, do we want every department spending down every single dollar in their budget?
No.
So, I mean, you're always going to be a little bit over.
Example, we didn't budget for the elevator. It still wasn't fixed. Out of the furnace. Got a furnace go out this week. A perfect world you can, but it's not a perfect world.
And I know when they they threw around that 40, I think you said that $46 million. Yeah, we did actually end the year with $46 million, but 700,000 is conservation reserve. Drainage district has 329,000. Debt service has money in there. Amana, the road fund is sitting at $1 million, like Nick said. What are the ones were in here? Secondary road is 4.3 million. Our capital projects, which is our building projects, which is really roads, 5.7 million there. So it's not like we're sitting on money that we can just go and throw to whatever we want to put it at. So, what bond proceeds? Yeah, for the roads. Yeah,
it's spoken for.
So now that we've aired that out, I had an EMA meeting. I assume you're done.
Yes.
Okay, an EMA meeting on Wednesday. There was a request for a budget amendment. 20,000 of that was a grant money to come in and then eventually take out. And then $5,000 for a controller or a sensor for CO2, I think is what it is, for furnaces and whatnot that went out, is $5,000. I did start the discussion there about why we were doing a budget amendment for $5,000 for the sensor when previously last fiscal year we went over budget on line items, several line items by over $10,000. And so I didn't understand why we needed to do an amendment for this. It started a whole discussion about, that department and how we can't change how much money they get. They get whatever the commission asks for. And I explained to them as the county supervisor on the board, it's really hard because whatever they take out, we have to take from somewhere else. And so I really asked the commission to take a stronger role in that department and seeing what we're spending money on. Every year we budget to increase the ending fund balance, but then it seems to get spent down anyways. And so there's just a lot of concern there about what's being spent. So I did ask, and I think it was requested to you, Brandy, to have everybody included on the claim sheets and things like that. So that way everyone can see where the money's going. Because we only meet quarterly, so it's not on the forefront of everybody's mind every quarter. So other than that, I think that was pretty much it.
I had an early childhood that was rescheduled on Monday and nothing new except for we sent a letter to, or the board sent a letter to join the District 6, the new formed district, which isn't really newly formed, but it's their in anticipation of it. They sent a letter to say that we would like to join District 6, which I think they're going to get joined in it anyways. It's kind of like the mental health, but just to be ahead of it, they sent a letter. So
Is that with the southern
yeah,
counties?
yeah.
Okay.
There's like, I think everybody's sending a letter except for Davis. There's 3 counties down there that didn't send a letter because one of them wants to be, I think, in a different district, which I think they don't get to choose. I mean, they'll choose, but they're just sending a letter ahead of time to kind of get ahead of it. So, but other than that, it was pretty normal. So, and then I had someone call about the fund balance or.
Oh, you got a call too?
Yes,
Okay.
a text actually, but.
Well, I think that's where it's important to come back to the facts, right? And this is what we go through every single year with the Farm Bureau. And we explain it every single year, but it just seems to fall on deaf ears.
I had after our meeting last week, I had the meeting with, I'm trying to bring up with the Juvenile Detention Facility Board. Basically, they're trying to rewrite they're like, the 2880 agreements, because it's gonna be different with the lawsuit and stuff. And then they're also going through like the policies and procedures and stuff like that. So it's kind of a long meeting, but they're just working those out. And then the commission, the executive committee is working on replacing the executive director of the place. Right now, they have an interim executive director. And then I had the RGB meeting, which you guys got some of the information on that, and we're gonna have a briefing and discussion on that today, so I'll just wait to talk about that till later, so. But that's all I had this week.
I was with you at the Radio Governance Board, and then I went to the county home. I had to show him how to turn the water on and off for the new guy, because he wants to go later in the year and do it until it snows. See. At the pipeline meeting, safety, I've got a cool certificate with 2 credits, which I don't know what to do with.
Wow.
What do you do with 2 credits? I go, what are they for?
What are they for?
Some entities have to have tested hours.
Oh,
So I guess it was neat I went once. I don't know if I'm gonna do it every year, but because he goes, it's the same thing every year. And he goes, pretty much. I went to Easy Cog meeting yesterday that Chris decided not to show up to. I was there, spirit. So they did a nice presentation about the expansion of Cedar Rapids Airport and how their numbers have really grown. They're like at 1.5 million now for travelers. They're talking about putting a hangar in 72,000 square feet. They're talking about it supports it to change the parking lot to like a parkade, put levels in it because the growth is getting so much better. And they have, and somehow I didn't mention they're going to have they own the property to the north of the airport. I know that's right, Brothers Boulevard, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Right, Brothers Boulevard runs into the north, but then right across the
Put
road.
another airstrip in there.
We've been talking about that for years.
So I don't know,
Like putting
I don't know how that's gonna work, but
What's going on to the northwest of the airport?
You mean that whole section?
Yeah,
That's that data center.
oh, that's where that's gonna go, okay.
So,
they're talking about might move another jog and right Brothers Boulevard for more expansion.
Let's see.
talking like where that whole gravel, like the gravel, it's like all gravel.
Yeah.
Section. I think that's the data center.
Okay.
That was to me the most interesting thing at the Easy Cog. And that's pretty much all I had, I guess. Now we go down to the other stuff. I don't think I saw liquor license, did I?
No.
Schedule 2025 city school election canvas of election 1 and 2 tier. When do we want to do that? Excuse me?
The 10th of November.
What time? I'm hoping it'll be done in the field with them, so.
9 o'clock, or I mean, when,
When do you want to, yeah, when do you want to do it?
yeah, okay.
Like 1 o'clock? 1 o'clock?
1 o'clock?
On November 10th,
I'll make a motion to.
first day of basketball practice.
Do we need to make a motion?
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to schedule the 2025 city school election canvas, election first and second tier on November 10th at 1. Okay. The
The first tier,
election
yeah.
first tier, on November 10th
You want
at
the,
1 p.m.
you want the second one also at 1? Okay.
I'll make a motion to set the second
Wait,
tier.
wait,
Or no,
Oh,
I was
oh,
gonna-
there was a
Second, I'll second his motion.
I'll make, then the second tier on November 17th at 1 p.m.
The second for that one.
I'll second that.
All in favor for both of them, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved. Let me
How
get a
come I
second
have to have a first and second tier? What's that?
out of the county.
So we have to get the other counties' results. Like
Oh,
North English is in 2 counties, Victor's in
that's
2
right.
counties, yeah.
I remember doing that last year, no?
Mhm.
You're the year
Or
before.
the last time.
So I'll make sure I got those on my phone. And we'll stop at this for now for Mr. Nick.
Good morning.
Morning.
Morning, Nick.
Your fans will be taken care of next week.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
Perfect.
Like getting sicker.
Whatever do you get?
Not my fan. Shot fans.
I'm gonna leave it.
Oh. That haven't been installed yet?
Yes.
Oh, they still haven't been installed?
Correct.
I hear you.
Next week, it sounds like.
So are we gonna label them Montrose fans after they go up? Dedicate them to you?
No.
The bridge on D Avenue, we will be doing the bridge deck for next Monday. And then if anybody's been out to Amana, they are grinding on G Street. I think they should be done early next week, so. Our guys, we got a few guys ditching, hauling some dirt. Today, they are gonna be working on the culvert on B77, that one where we put extensions on last year.
Yeah, I just saw the stuff done. There was, they have problems already?
No, no problems with that. You know, it's just an older culvert, the water and salt and sand kind of are eating out around the edges and the bottom. So we're just gonna, the guys are just gonna form it up and pour a little bit of concrete in there to make sure there's no more erosion. And, you know, essentially stop whatever erosion is happening to that rebar. And then we do have a few guys out there, we're doing the flagging and traffic control out there on G Street.
Probably not too bad, is it?
There are cars, I told them yesterday, we were out there, that they could just put up the road closed signs, like, just close it, you know? We'll still have 2 flaggers for local traffic to get to the nursing home, you know, people that pull up, they're like, I gotta get through, but people we drive around, right, for a few days. And only during the day, you know, it's like in the night, so. We got everything submitted, all those final plans and, the PDCs that go with it. And I filled out all the floodplain and sovereign lands permits for next year's projects and starting, concept statements. You know, that stuff. So, when can we, when can we pay that TIF money? Randy? Can we start writing checks?
Is on the agenda.
It's on the agenda for today. And then, so if that does go, we can start writing that at any time? What's that?
Yeah.
Yep, okay. All right, I will.
Nobody can hear you.
No, I'm sorry, I just couldn't. She's behind the screen. I just couldn't-
She was nodding her head, but you couldn't see it.
Yeah.
Couldn't hear, I could hear that. I could hear the rocks rattling.
Okay, and I will, remind, we're gonna send a reminder to the sheriff's office about our snow policy. And I will send a reminder to the internet, to Facebook, and I will send a reminder to the newspaper. You guys should also, do your annual checkup on that, read ordinance 22, which shows how we do our snow removal, how we, if you guys have phone calls and everything.
It's not gonna snow this year.
Yeah.
You were the one last week that said it was gonna be a bad year.
I just tell you what I read.
And then next week, we get on the agenda, we will go ahead and appoint our new weed commissioner on that form. And also, he's got his annual weed commissioner's report, so we're just gonna knock them both out at the same time.
Will he come in?
You want him
I think so.
to? All right.
And I think everybody, that way everybody can meet him once. And
Who doesn't want to come to our meeting?
everybody.
No, he is, he's a very, very good individual and well-spoken, and will do great.
Is he gonna speak to the weeds?
He will.
That kills him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a weed whisperer.
Yeah.
Did you get your wrench that you were looking for?
I know that Woody had ordered it, but I don't know if it came in yet.
You want to run that, over to your office for me, for that culvert, or that right away we're talking about?
He wants to keep doing that until what, the snow flies?
He's a hard worker.
I saw they sprayed the road yesterday by me. He puts a good amount of stuff on
There's somebody just talking the other day, like, they're talking
We
3
talked
foot
about
of
this.
snow at a time at
Yes.
times.
it. Remember we talked on that,
3 foot of snow at
almost a flag there, you
times
said? On I Avenue there,
being predicted this winter.
Oh, yeah.
and across from the other driveway where you said.
You know, we've had
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah,
quota
yeah, yeah.
meetings for the year. We don't need to have any more technically by law. So we could just like adjourn for the winter and go down south and,
I didn't know there was even a quota.
yeah, it's only like 10 meetings a year or something. It's crazy.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So we're done. We can just cash
Is
out.
that a motion?
Yeah.
I'm going to Florida this month, I guess maybe I will come back.
Yeah.
You have the flag there now.
I had the flag there, yeah.
Did you put in for overtime though? Or time off?
You just want me to have Tim call you or something?
I can zoom that out.
We can, we'll have that discussion later. Yeah, nobody else have questions for Nick? Everything's going pretty smooth otherwise?
I believe so, yeah.
Any luck on the assistant?
I am setting up an interview right now for, sometime maybe in December, January for a May graduate,
Oh, good.
a localish person. So, yep, I'm doing that. It's just, trying to stay ahead of all the bridge projects, and I think we're doing pretty good, because that way, pretty soon here, I'll start, budget stuff. So 5% to you guys like in December. So, yeah, I need to start to get that done. And then right after sometime in December, the first of the year, we'll find out if we got any money at the BBE curve. And so that's why I'm trying to get bridge projects done. So if we need to do that, I can.
I mean, then I actually got it straightened out somewhat because it is so sharp and.
Yeah, no, that would be nice. I think if we can get that done. But we don't usually do things like that, right? We don't usually do road realignments. So it's just gonna take me longer because, the whole process will be new.
No experience.
So that position for your assistant, is that like strictly a civil engineering job?
Mostly, yeah. I think I put, you can check the description. I kind of borrowed it, from other counties and it might say equivalent to, so like them, it's mostly usually civil engineers, but I'm not for sure if we would accept like, mechanical engineering is done civil engineering or something like that.
I didn't know like how many different engineering fields there are. There's like biochemical and
Yeah, I would say there, I don't know if there's 10, civil, mechanical, electrical, biomedical,
biomedical.
aeronautical or whatever. And a bunch, 10. I have to write them down, I'm gonna start repeating myself. You said mechanical 3 times.
I had a friend that was an aeronautical engineer and he worked for one of the manufacturing companies. I forget which one, but he left there and then went to dental school. Can you imagine how much school that would be?
Wouldn't make real money.
His dad was a dentist. Unfortunately, he's passed away now, but it was just odd going from that field to that field.
Sure, yeah. I had a friend who got his degree in engineering and then went to go become a doctor. So I had to restart everything.
That's awful. School.
Just like it.
And then I think he became a doctor and, for about 2 years, he could have retired, I think.
Doctors never retired.
Yeah, no,
Doctors and
he's
attorneys
still,
never retired.
no, I think everything is still going.
Any other questions? Go ahead.
All right, I'll watch the meeting and then, I guess if you guys pass your budget amendment, I'll start writing checks. I think I got $500,000 to pay out of that account.
HEITS. You're writing checks.
All righty.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Somebody had somebody for Pioneer at one time. They were-
Yes.
Well, I was gonna ask, that girl from North English.
Yeah.
I got it. Oh, yeah.
Because I just read the text. Oh. Didn't get to catch what 8 minutes. I get it now.
Nominate Marta Moore for Pioneer Cemetery.
Second.
Marta Moore,
I'll second that.
my mother-in-law, Marta, and M-O-H-R.
Does she know?
Yes. She said
Is
yes.
she alive?
Yes.
Does she live in Iowa County, not in
Yes.
Des Moines?
Is there a second?
Yes, that's good.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. You have an appointment.
Forgot our wall.
Oh. Second.
Compensation board retention discussion. We got 15, 20 minutes. Should take that out.
I am definitely in favor of retaining it because it's our only buffer with the union wages for our law enforcement to not absorb that all in 1 year.
Okay, so just a minute. Last year you wanted to get rid of it, right?
No, I wanted to keep it.
My bad.
No, I wanted to keep it. I've always wanted to keep it. It's our only way, because otherwise we have to take the sheriff up to his back the blue wage, whatever that is. And then we have all the deputies that are tied to it. I don't know if we can afford it. I don't know where evaluations are gonna come in. We have a debt service levy jump that we're discussing here later.
Okay. Anybody else have an opinion which way, one way or the other?
I didn't know that. I wasn't clear on what would happen if we got rid of it.
Just
So
when we have to
Then
follow
it
the
says
law.
we shall pay the sheriff instead of the comp board shall recommend.
It's from shall doing to shall recommend.
I just don't know if we can afford it, or,
I'd rather have a leeway of being able to make a decision instead of having to.
right.
I think we're making steps towards it.
every year, yeah.
Yeah, So I think that's our goal, is to get there.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're on the same page that if we're gonna keep it, because last year I thought we had a discussion one or the other, so we'll just keep it.
That's what I think, yeah.
I mean,
Let's make it as a motion so it's on record, okay?
I make a motion to retain our current compensation board.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved. Anybody else want to discuss anything else before we go into recess to our public hearing? We're in recess then.
Okay, I'm good. I'm on.
Public hearing, Iowa County FY 26 budget amendment number 2. Is there a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say nay. We are in public hearing. Is there any public comment written?
No.
Any public comment? Motion to go out of public hearing?
So moved.
Second, we'll go ahead, Seth.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. We are out of public hearing. Is there a motion to approve public hearing?
What's all on this one, Brandy? It's the TIF funds and then the elevator. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget amendment.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved. Iowa County Assistant Attorney Settlement Release Agreement between T-Mobile Central
Oh, yep, they're gonna take your place there.
LLC and Iowa County.
They walked in just during the announcement.
Have a seat up front.
Oh,
It was-
go ahead.
No, you take the meeting.
It was like he came in on cue because he was just announcing it.
Timing? So we have timing today, is that what you're saying?
Yep, I-
Where's all the costumes?
This is my copy.
We're already
Okay, where's
together.
yours?
she's been making them online.
I'm a disgruntled attorney.
We came as
There's
jokes.
the other.
Really? You're gonna charge him with impersonating a police officer?
Maybe I got hired.
You got a point?
I still remember we had somebody that did that when they were building the jail. I remember the guy that did it, he went over and acted like he was a jailer.
Really?
Michael Mushman.
That's funny.
I knew Michael pretty well.
They frown upon that, do they?
He got charged with it.
Was it on Halloween?
No, I don't think so.
Delete that. Just do it like.
Well, I sent over the agreement on this thing, and I said, did you get my resolution, Brandy? I heard something back there, all right?
You all right, Randy?
Lost.
Lost her
her.
voice.
Is everybody in your office sick?
So, and Josh knows a lot more about this than I do. He's been working with it for a long time. So out at Victor on the tower, they have been using power from us for how many years?
Since 2016.
Yeah,
But originally the agreement, they were following it until about 2023, and then they went from $150 a month to like $900 a month. And our agreement was only $150, so
They were willing to make it right by offering to pay us money, at least in their mind, to satisfy us.
yeah.
so that's, now there's another meter, a secondary meter on their stuff to monitor exactly what they have, and that's what the agreement talks about now.
Because they have a smart meter now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
It tells them what their usage is, and they pay us, and they've been doing that since like May.
So it's all been kind of a cordial agreement.
We're just basically amending the agreement just to say they will pay what they actually use instead of $150. And they're gonna write us a check for the back. Tim will work with them on the back pay.
For $26,100, they'll pay us.
What fund was that?
Dylan was paying,
They're paying us.
Yeah, but it was coming out, so
Dylan
it's
was paying,
general.
Dylan was paying utilities for the last.
We're fixing it.
Yeah, there's-
He's the one who originally, Dylan was the one who originally, brought it to my attention that they were way high, and then so I tried to reach out myself with them, and then
Good luck with them.
finally they didn't do anything, and so I got Tim involved, and
They're hard to get a hold of. And
Yeah.
hard to figure out who you have to talk to.
Yeah, you gotta talk to 2 or 3 different people, and one person about the settlement, one person about the agreement.
I think I worked on this for months and then I kind of handed it over to Mr. Dilly to keep working on it. It was just who you talk to one day to the next.
Communication companies don't communicate very well.
Well, they got too many people.
a lot of people.
And this person doesn't talk to that person, and so getting the right person to tell you what they need or what they want to do is difficult.
It's not my job. That's basically it. This is just the settlement part of the 26,100. We still have to redo the agreement for the, to change it from the $150, so we're working on that too, so.
We just need a motion on the resolution.
We need a motion to approve resolution 2025-10-31 between Iowa County and T-Mobile.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say, do we need to wait to the resolution do roll call? Okay, resolution passed.
Thank you. Thank you guys.
Have a good weekend.
Yeah, you guys do.
Don't run out of candy so you don't
You
get
guys,
tricked.
anything else?
I won't be home.
Oh, the old shut the lights off. That's even worse when the kids find
I
out.
actually like to do it, but, we have to go down to friends' kids in the playground with prairies. They didn't schedule very well because they're having to play the same night as Mid Prairie's playing. Football tournament.
That would be a mess.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe Leeds were.
They don't have a lot of parking down there.
Right. Have a good weekend.
Yep.
We had a team of 2 losses in the district.
All right, I'll get that together with them.
Based on
If
that
I get that other guy.
system they got.
Yeah, thank you. All right.
Okay,
Not yet.
Oh, they're all coming over.
Pass those down here. And down that way.
Adam, you're here for this, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
I'm gonna call Heidi over to City Hall.
Yes.
Okay, so I make sure you didn't want something else,
No.
since I was mean to you the day of the meeting.
Well, today, I'm here to just kind of update the board. I know that there is some, E911, equipment and towers that are that are coming up, looking at doing the expenses, coming up here in the next year. Wanted to give the board an idea of what that will look like, from a financing perspective, tax impacts and things like that. I put a couple options. No need to make any decisions today, from a timing standpoint, not looking at really needing these funds. We have 2 options right now, but really needing these funds really probably mid next year. Is that kind of
It depends on when they decide to sign the contract.
sign the contract? But usually when you sign these contracts, you look at doing the financing option, either leasing through Raycom or through the bonding. So I put together that bonding options for you. In order to go ahead and borrow for these funds, Iowa Code allows for you to gain authority to borrow with just a simple public hearing. Meaning that you would post a public hearing, have a 420-day notice with a not to exceed amount for which you're looking at borrowing. Once that public hearing is held, and you take that feedback, the board has the authority to go forward and borrow or lease with that. So it's a lot easier than, some other types of projects out there where, you may need to go to a full bond referendum, but with it being, emergency management equipment and towers, it fits under what they call essential county purpose. So that's, the steps that you would be taking. Outstanding right now, the county does still have its it's the 2016 bond, and that is set to be paid off in 2032. So that's for the original radios and equipment. That was for, service. So some of that's still being paid off, and you're looking at starting to do some stuff at the same time. So, ideally, you kind of want to have those paid off and then kind of start the new. But we have a few years before that happens. So we can look a few different ways in order to kind of finance that. This page, like 3-pager that I have here, gives you the history of where the debt service levy payment for the county has been in just this 2023, I looked back a few years past that, it was right around 60 cents for, for many years. And then you had some of your debt pay off, so you're right around, for fiscal year 26, right at 31 cents. We do have one little building coming off, and then it drops down to 26 cents on that debt service levy, not assuming any other bonding going on. So there is some room to take a look at, doing kind of that minimal impact. There's the radios that is about approximately 1.5 million. And then you have all the infrastructure that's about 4.6 million. And so I've structured those in a few different ways to see what that impact would look like. We did just the radios over a 10-year period, knowing that those are likely to have that 10-year life, and the infrastructure to have a 15-year. This first page, option 1, shows what the debt service levy would potentially increase to. That's just assuming that your levy stays the same.
This is radios 10 and the rest of the infrastructure 15.
Yes. Down on that right side, showing that if you just kind of did a level for each of those, it jumped you up to about $1 from where you're at right now. That seemed a little bit like a pretty big jump since you dropped from that 60 down to the 30. So put together a couple options of how that can look. Just to kind of step back there. You don't necessarily have to pay off that 2016. It can stay outstanding. There's no reason that, even if you're looking at, borrowing more, things, you can still pay it off as is. Interest rates haven't dropped quite enough to refinance that, depending on where you are and where the market's at, if you are looking at bonding.
How much more would it need to drop before it's worthwhile?
As a standalone, probably about 0.5%. But if we combine it with the other, probably about 0.25%, it's gonna start making some sense. But as a standalone right now, it's still a little bit of a loss right now. So you'll see kind of where the rates are right now. Those are at 3 to 3.1. Rates right now with your current outstanding Moody's is that 2.65, and out to the 10-year goes to 3.35, and then for that 15 it goes out to 3.85. And that's assuming tax exempt debt, and that you're borrowing less than 10 million this year. The next option, basically kind of what I did is, I wanted to make sure that the radios were paid off within that 10-year structure, but then kind of level it out just as a level payment all the way through. So instead of going to $1, it could kind of round out to about 56 cents for that 15-year period. Some of the concerns with that option is that, maybe in 10 years that you're looking at probably having to have some more radio equipment again, and you're kind of stuck in that levy without any drop off there. But what that option does do is it does get you a little bit under that 60 cents where you were just 2 years ago.
And all of these are leaving the current payment as it is.
As is. And then the third option, I structured that to kind of fit with the 10-year structure of the radio equipment where we go up to about 60 cents on the levy, and then down to 37 cents where you'd have some room to do some additional radio equipment down the road. So it could look a million different ways, but I kind of wanted to give you an idea of, where the estimates are right now, where the contract's at, where that levy could be. We're probably looking at somewhere, If you wanted to start paying it off, you'd be raising, quicker, you'd be raising some taxes. Otherwise, there's some options to kind of put it in that 56 to 60 cent range. Also in your packet, just for fun, I put just where the interest rates are right now. So you can kind of see where I got those numbers. If you just want to take a look at the top left, there's a box called bank qualified. So that's assuming that you're doing general obligation, tax exempt bonds, and that you're borrowing less than 10 million in one calendar year. The county has an outstanding rating with Moody's, and that's the AA3, which is that bright yellow. So that's where you're seeing when those interest rates are. If you borrow more than 10 million in 1 year, that's that bank qualified rates. They're usually pretty close to the same, I'll say in the first 5 to 7 years, and then you start seeing a little bit of a spread difference between the two. From what I've seen in this contract, all of the purchases with the radios and the infrastructure appears to be only public use, and we wouldn't be looking at taxable rates. Sometimes when you're borrowing, you're looking at if it's not 100% for public use. Or Brandy.
Maybe that's what you mean.
So like it's taxable rates. So there is that, there's benefits to, when the county borrows, they get those tax exempt, they qualify rates. Put those on front today.
So the original bond that was taken out in 16,
Yep.
Was it 16 or 18?
You know, I looked at that, I put 18 there, but I have it correct in this packet over here, so I apologize. I put 18 on there, but it's 16.
so the original issue was $4 million. And just rough math, like when I go on our payment schedule, it looks like we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 payments left at like 335-ish. So yeah, we still owe $2 million, right?
Yeah. If there is any, if there's any cash available or things like that, you certainly can, if I'm aware of some cash that is in some of the accounts, you certainly can look at paying off a portion of that early and kind of structuring it from that standpoint. It's likely that you probably don't have 2 million in the 2 million in the bank at this point that you'd want.
According to some sources, we do.
You may.
So, yeah. I'm gonna just I need to figure out what our valuation was.
So your current, so actually in this page.
Do you have our valuation in here?
Yes.
We don't have to pull it off.
Yep. So on page 2, I do have the history
Oh, there we
from
go. Yeah.
2019 all the way to 2026. The 100% valuation is the total value within the county before any of the rollbacks that are set by the state. So you'll see that that's 2.3 billion. After all the rollbacks that are set by the state, in FY 2026, you're looking at 1.288 billion. And then to the right of that, just for your showing a little bit of that history of where those rollbacks have been. And then the state did just release for FY 27 what those rollbacks are going to be.
Yeah.
So I included those as well. The next page after that, just kind of give you an idea of where you're at from a debt standpoint. When you're looking at doing any type of debt or borrowing, there's first a check called a debt capacity analysis. Typically, counties don't really have to worry about this too much because you have a very large valuation and a large base. But Iowa code says you can't borrow more than 5% of your 100% valuation. That's just a legal threshold that you have to meet. So technically Iowa County can have, in FY 2026, 117 million in debt outstanding from a legal standpoint, not from a financial standpoint. And then I've listed from right to left the outstanding bonds that you have outstanding. And those are just the principal amounts for a total against your debt limit of 8.8 million. So you're just at 7.5% of what's available. And those are the current structures there. So from a legal standpoint, no questions there. It's really the financial standpoint of what, what that levy will look like going forward when issuing those new bonds. Page 4 just has the current combined principal and interest payments of everything that's outstanding and how those are paid off. You have the urban renewal bonds that are paid back with the tip from the wind tip revenue. And then you have some of those building upgrades that you did a couple years ago that are paid back through that general fund loan. And then you do have the E911 bonds and a small other note that are currently on the debt service levy.
So just rough math, if we wanted to pay the 2 million off with our, in one swipe, it'd be $1.55 per thousand is what I came up with. And then what interest would we save? Do you know roughly? It's probably bad.
So the interest
If we paid it off
if you paid
today
that off.
or in 1 year.
Pay that off in 1 year. So you make your fiscal 26 payment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you paid off, yeah.
So you have 260,000 in interest outstanding right now. In fiscal year 2026, you're paying about 62,000. So it's about 200,000 in savings if you do pay that off. So just right about 2%.
Okay. I have a lot of thought process on this, but I know that's a hike in 1 year, right? You'd be doubling it, almost tripling it with the other ones.
Yeah, going from.
But when I look at this, not as like a year-to-year basis, but more as like a business or whatever, it doesn't make sense to keep paying interest on something that's now obsolete that we have nothing to show for, right? And so if we can save 200,000, yeah, it's a hike 1 year, but not a huge hike. I mean, if you're thinking, I could do the math on what it would cost, an average home.
Sure.
But it's not huge. But it would make them, I don't know, I'm kind of toying around with that in my head if that would be the better route to go, because it makes the most business sense.
Business sense. So you'd be paying off the most high interest debt, the new debt, so usually when you have cash on hand, you look, okay, do I pay off the old debt or do I reduce what I have going, what I'm going to pay for? So if you do have cash available and you're looking to use some of that or all of it to pay it off, you look to try to pay off that highest interest debt, free it up, and then borrow
Yeah.
with the lower interest rates. And we certainly can, the 3 options that I put in front of the board today, look to try to match where you're at, or maybe only go maybe 10 cents higher when you kind of clear the board, and then structure it with that 10 years, and then only have maybe a little bit of the infrastructure going that remaining 5 years.
Yeah, it's like in my head, the 2 options are to continue kind of as a status quo. And while your rate might not go up a lot in 1 year, you're gonna pay more over time. You're gonna pay a lot more in interest versus actually just taking care of the problem, getting it done in 1 year and then moving forward, coming back down.
So if that cash is something that the board does want to consider, I can put that option together. And, you know, we kind of want to look at your fund balances to make sure that those,
No, wait. No,
We would have to raise the debt service levy to get the cash, if that makes sense. That's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
you're raising the debt service levy to get the cash.
Yeah, we don't have the
You
cash.
don't have the cash.
Yeah, that's where I say it'd be about $1.55. We have to, in 1 year.
I don't know any of that.
You know, there's costs associated with, you know, raising the debt service levy and going into debt. So we'd have to, that 200,000 would drop as well. I'd have to run like the numbers, but it does seem, you know, I don't like that it's outstanding, but it's also not an entirely super high interest rate either. You know, if you had cash, let's wipe it out, but, in order to kind of borrow an additional, borrowing additional to raise that, you know, you're paying interest on that too, even at the 1 year rate, so. It's certainly an option we can look at, but,
What if like option 3, if we had cash come up in the future? And then take that towards that debt, the 2016 debt.
yeah, so that 2016 debt is currently callable right now, meaning that it can be paid off, at any time with a 30-day notice from the board. You know, anytime that is, you're probably gonna look at taking any cash and applying that to actually the most, like the 2032 payment, shortening that up, saving interest, and then making those payments smaller.
Because do they do that like every 5 years where they're callable?
It's typically about 7 years, 7 to 8 years in the bond market that it's those rates are locked in. The reason being, you know, the rates that I've shown you today are based off of those typical call dates in the market because investors have a certain guarantee they want to have at that interest rate. We sell bonds, you know, at shorter call dates, longer call dates for different reasons, but the interest rates look different than this.
Sure, they show higher rates too.
Yeah.
You have some more questions?
Yeah, and my questions won't pertain to the payment structure. I have questions about the system and whatnot, but. So this is where I'm having troubles adding things up. We did a $4 million bond. I know we structured it for 15 years, but it supposedly is a 10-year lifespan, right? But then when Raycom comes to us, they say, yeah, this agreement's till 27, but you have so many things that are obsolete that we're not even gonna take it to that 10-year mark. Then in their presentation they pulled up. Sorry, I got so many things pulled up here. So my understanding is this was supposed to take us till 27, and we should be covered in this system for the radios that we currently have, but they're saying that we need to do this before 27 because things are becoming obsolete, which.
I think the contract runs out at the end of 26, right, Josh?
Yes,
So
the
that-
original contract is 26, the amendment goes till July 1st of 27.
Okay.
It covers consoles and the stuff they just replaced, this last year, which is switches, firewalls, and some of the back end, IT stuff. But that's not the entire system, that's not the antennas, that's not the microwave, that's not the radios. So there's some stuff that is okay to have till 2027. This is figured originally when Raycom proposed this, they proposed them funding it for 15 years with a spread out replacement of infrastructure. What Heidi has today is you guys bonding for it, because the understanding was you can't afford to fund the payment annually through the general budget process. So this is them, us paying them and then them replacing things basically starting in 2026. Now, obviously, they probably wouldn't replace the stuff that's brand new tomorrow. They would wait a couple years, but their agreement with us is that we will pay them a lump sum to save $390,000 instead of them funding it. That's the proposal.
And so what's the difference between this contract and what we pay out of the EMA budget to the tune of $300,000 a year? What's that for then?
So you're paying, this is the actual equipment. What I pay for is maintenance.
I thought this was for the maintenance.
The whole thing's a maintenance renewal, but you're actually buying equipment with this contract as well versus just paying for upkeep and monitoring and repairs. So like right now, if this radio goes in and gets fixed, it's like $700 to fix it every time. We don't pay for any of that. We do pay for it. We pay annually a cost associated with that. And that's, if you look at
That's the 300,000, right?
Yeah, if you look at the Raycom quote, the top part of that says annual maintenance or whatever, and then schedule or planned upgrades, that's what EMA pays for, is that part. The other two parts below that are the part that Heidi's presenting to you today. So you can't bond for maintenance, you can only bond for actual equipment.
And have they said what the maintenance part is gonna be if we do this? Is it
Yeah,
gonna
it's
stay?
on the schedule. It's all
Okay.
on
Sorry, I just have 8,000 things open here.
the, it's all on the revised thing that I sent you guys Wednesday, I think.
Yeah, I've got it here.
There's two versions of it. The one is with Raycom funding it, and the other one is with, paying it this way.
Jesus, yeah, is that an emergency?
The school doing quick.
So what I'm trying to figure out is, we're gonna give them 6 million up front, and they say they're gonna replace all these things, right? And then, are they going to ask for the 10 to 15 years for sure, or are we gonna come back kind of to the same situation that we're in now, where they're saying they're becoming due before that?
I don't know the answer to that question. I don't, the radios are good for 10 years. The contract that they're providing is for 10 years. Bonding it this way, Raycom's proposal is 10 years. Bonding, doing the other way, they're willing to spread the infrastructure out over 15 years. Do we think that we can possibly do what we're doing if we spread some stuff out? I don't know the answer to that. I don't think they're willing to say, I'm gonna wait 5 years to buy some equipment, and you guys, if you don't pay me today, I'm not gonna wait 5 years and risk something going up 20% in cost, and then they have to eat that cost. I mean, this is them buying everything now, replacing it as needed, basically, and for 10, the contract is 10 years.
So,
It was a 10-year radio and a 15-year infrastructure if they fund it. But if we do it this way, it's 10 years for everything.
so if we pass all this and sign it all off on July 1 of 27, essentially, they're gonna come in and furnish us with all new radios, antennas, all that.
Yeah, July, well, it'll be October of 26 if we can get it done in that timeframe. For radios for sure, that's when our actual original maintenance contract is over. So all the other stuff they're gonna need to replace, microwave, which it won't all be done by then. It takes 18 months to do all this stuff.
Yeah, but I'm not actually for hard dates, but if we sign this, they're gonna come in and replace all of this.
That's the plan, yeah.
Okay. But our stuff's working currently, right?
Yes.
Okay.
That was, the contract was they had to keep it running until October of 26. Everything, there's radios that are they end up life in 2022, but they had to keep them running until the contract was over. Same with this contract, if something goes end of life, they have to keep it running until the contract is over. That's the,
Said keep it running or replace it with a replacement?
with the same radio that's end of life, they have to keep it functioning as it is. They won't give us a new radio, but
I can't remember if I asked them, I have my notes from that meeting over here, how many radios they had to replace for us over this.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, Mike, you've done that, yeah, I don't have that.
We had it on that spreadsheet.
She's talking about like over the life of the maintenance contract, how many times do we have stuff fixed?
Oh, okay, I thought you meant how many were left.
I think thought Mike said something about that, but I don't.
Yeah, I don't have it written down, I would have thought.
The fire departments and stuff, take their stuff into, so I don't get to see every single radio that gets worked on. And they,
Yeah, just our department, probably 3 or 4 years.
Did they work on?
Yeah.
But then the upgrading too, that's a huge expense. And how many times do you have to upgrade? Is it once a year?
well, they come in and do, it's basically a computer.
Software?
Yeah, software update inside the computer every year. Once a year, they touch every single radio. They
So that's
monitor-
all.
They have a dispatch center like we do that monitors all of our equipment, all of our paging, all of our radios, all of our consoles, our phone stuff.
They spent probably at least a week out here, all the fire and ambulance,
Yeah, with about,
going through everyone, and then some of them don't take, and then they come back and redo them.
the contract, I think, spells out in the maintenance part that's paid for through EMA, what's what, the infrastructure and the network control part. You can see where the maintenance contract, what covers what in there.
So this, the latest one that you sent us, I don't see where it says what the EMA portion would be for the maintenance. Do you?
It's addendum 2, I think, is the page.
That's his current equipment list.
No, before that, there should be a pricing attachment.
Yes, okay. And that's the,
It's addendum 1.
Service maintenance rates.
so it's gonna be,
Yeah, so where it says maintenance and planned upgrades, that's EMA.
okay,
And then subscriber refresh and infrastructure refresh, that's what Heidi's talking about.
okay. So it's gonna be like $100,000 savings year one and then kind of creep back up.
Yeah, because there's a, year warranty from the manufacturer on all this stuff. And then there was, the other contract in year 2030, when they actually bought all the hardware for the infrastructure, there was a decrease as well. But yeah, there will be a decrease this first year for my payment.
And did we, so I know they quoted us anywhere from $2,800 to $6,000 for a radio. Do you know what we're gonna end up spending? Which ones we
The
chose?
mobiles are like 5,500 and the portables are 1,800, or what do we say, 1,700 at the median. for the cheaper ones, and I don't think we figured you can figure it, if you look at the thing, and the number of radios is the one that contract divided out by the total number of, that's crisis go, they must have something on fire labor again, yeah. Huh?
Is it, which radio, would it be the 148, 45, or the 85? Or the Harris?
For XL 45 is the fire, the lower price ones. And the XL 185s are actually a step down from what we have now, for law enforcement. But they're more expensive, but they're, or a step down cheaper than what we have today. Because the reason for that is everyone around us is on the same system now, so we don't have to have all the same functionality as we had 10 years ago. Before, we were kind of the west end of the system and nobody around us had it. Now everyone around us is on the same system, so we're able to reduce some costs there with the radio, and the radio version could be cheaper.
Okay.
Now, the lower end radios, when we originally bought them, were $900. They don't offer that option anymore, so the cheapest one we can get now is like $1,800. So we're buying the cheapest radio we can get for that. In comparison, you know, I talked with Motorola, and I don't know if John sent this on, but I did talk with another vendor on the end user equipment. The cheapest Motorola radio is like $4,000 versus $1,800. So, you know, it's significantly different in cost for another vendor to fund what's going on here. We are buying the best purchase, I mean, the best price purchase, I guess. I know it's a lot of money, so I get everyone's concern.
I'm just trying to make sure I understand it all.
Yeah, yep.
Another question. Old radios, are they taking those in?
Yeah, so, part of the plan is to retain some of these higher end ones if we can, and keep them as spares. All the fire ones, they are giving us some money for those on trade, and that's figured in. Depends on the radio. I have to look back at the emails to see exactly what's what, but it also depends on how many we get back. If for some reason the fire department doesn't have a radio anymore and they never told us, then we won't get credit for that, obviously. But some of these we will keep as spares so that when stuff gets sent off, we can just hand these out, and they're not technically going to be able to be repaired if they ever break, but Raycom will let them be on the system. But if they break, we have no coverage on them. So that's, keep like maybe like 24 of these, and just have them to hand out if somebody sends radios off. Because part of our problem is we don't buy a bunch of spare radios, right? And we've cut some in this. So there aren't, and that's the biggest complaint is like, well, we're not gonna have any spare radios. Well, if you have a spare radio you haven't used in 10 years, if we have like a handful of them and you need one, we can hand it to you instead of just having a radio on the shelf that's never been used. And that's the problem we have in the current system, is there's some radios that have never been keyed up. And so that's why we reduced the numbers some.
Mm-hmm. So then, are these replacing the ones that are in like secondary roads and transportation?
No.
Okay.
Back when we originally did this is so that's not considered essential county purpose from what I remember. So they, back then, and secondary roads bought theirs in 2016. Transportation did not buy theirs until like 5 years ago. So they still have like 5 years of life on theirs. And Nick doesn't fall under the same kind of rules that we do with the infrastructure, because we're traveling outside of the county a lot. So we have to have stuff that's on a maintenance plan. He doesn't necessarily have to, because he's only using our stuff in Iowa County. And so his stuff can just run until it breaks, essentially.
So if we have extras,
John
we
gets
keep
where I'm
back.
going, yeah.
If we have extras, we keep back.
Yeah.
Nick will be able to use them when his goes.
Yeah, if we keep it up. I mean, he's got like, most of his are truck radios. His are mobile. Well, he's only got 5 portables, so we weren't planning on keeping any mobiles, but I guess if you guys want us to keep, all the mobiles we have they're no longer in service, so they're end of life, so I don't know if we would even have mobiles to give.
We kind
We give
of,
them portables,
yeah,
but
we kind of discussed they could use portables, they would work.
if they want to do that, but when we originally talked about it, Nick didn't want to do that, he wanted it not in the truck, but that's up to Nick, that's not up to me, right? So.
Yeah, it'd have to come out of his budget if he was gonna buy
And
it.
last time they,
Honestly, do we save money instead of buying whatever radio? And if we're not gonna get much money for them back, then maybe we should keep some for it.
he was, looking at, well, last time he used road use money to fund it. He was able to, because they're going in road use equipment. So it wasn't actually, I believe that's how he funded it, what he told me anyway. But again, I mean, it's kind of a separate project from this. Like, I haven't really focused on that because we have to have the infrastructure before we can have any radios anyway. So, I don't, his isn't really as critical as getting the public safety side going.
Yeah, I was just thinking if we could save some money, but I know it's not property tax dollars, but it's just
Well, it's still money,
saving money, yeah.
all is still money in the end.
Yeah,
Yeah, they can, it's up to Nick, yeah, I mean, it's his department, but you can buy mounts that hold the handhelds in the vehicles. And you can actually have them being charged and powered while they're
Right.
in the vehicle. So it's not like you have to take it and go charge it somewhere and then put it in the vehicle. It can be hidden,
yeah.
get charged right in the vehicle.
Yeah, he might do similar to what transportation did. When he bought his radios the first time, it was because we were on an agreement at that time. We had so many days to finalize our radio order. And when he bought it off of our agreed price. So that was because we were buying all these public safety ones. I don't think he probably needs to buy the $5,000 if it's gonna be bound or cross. Maybe there's some other option out there that he can purchase. He doesn't need encryption, he doesn't need some of the options that are in these other radios, so. There might be something out there for him that's different. I don't know. They bought, transportation bought Tate radios, he has Harris, we have Harris. So, I don't know. Like I said, I haven't put a lot of work into the engineer side yet, just because this stuff has to get done before that.
Chris, questions?
Yeah, sorry, I'm kind of.
Yeah, you answered most of my questions, so.
Not really.
No, I would just say, as a board, if we go with one of these options, the goal would be as the boards go through the years to think about trying to pay it off early so they're not in the same situation as this 5 years.
That's why I kind of want to do a little math.
With the,
Yeah, over the weekend, yeah. Sit down and put a spreadsheet together.
I'll definitely show what that would look like. I mean, if you're certainly okay with looking at, taxes going up, I think, to pay that off within a year, it would, and then we could show what that would look like, just to clear the deck, pay it off, and see what it could look like just in that 10 years and put the whole thing under the 10 years. It's just trying to keep that sensitivity of where the levy is now
Yeah,
and not raising that.
we're doing good statewide, like compared to other counties. I just ran the averages for the Department of Management. We're not doing bad, so I'm okay with a hike 1 year and then just having a nice stable.
You want to cut it to 10?
Because, I mean, what would it be? Let's try to get, do more math. Too many numbers in my head.
So what she
Yeah,
said,
because you're looking at, and it's about, because you'd be paying off 1,810,000 in principal. And then,
Without a rollback, let's say I had $500,000 home value after the rollback,
I can put charts.
it'd be, yeah, like a $775 increase without the rollback, which is a lot, but that's without the rollback, so it would really
And
actually
then
be,
24%, instead of 27.
yeah, so it'd be what, that'd be So take it up to $511 more. But in the end, we're gonna save them money and then not be paying. I just have a real, personally, like, I would never take a loan out on something that I don't have anymore, or, like, it just.
Yeah.
Principally, a little bit.
From a business standpoint, and then there's also the other side of just trying to manage tax rates as well.
Yeah.
So,
Because as a taxpayer,
yeah,
I don't want this huge jump, but I don't care if it's dropping down later. It's costing me this now.
now, and that's where the kind of the decision of the board, that we can make, and I can put those numbers together. I can show you that I have tax impacts, for, residential, ag, and commercial, to show what that would look like in a dollar standpoint too.
So if you want to put a spreadsheet together that you and her put together to show us, so it's whatever the idea.
Yeah, I'd like to just see, I'd like to just see.
So I
Because
understand.
overall, because I mean,
I
I
I understand your point, but the point is, as a taxpayer,
I know. It's like farmers, we look at it, like, I don't look at it on a year-to-year basis, I look at a 3 to 5 year rolling basis, And so I think, I can save money by, paying this. Overall, I'm gonna save myself $200,000, right? And I'm gonna take that much less money out of your pocket, but it's not gonna be the same payment every year.
yeah, I think.
People would think that way,
I know.
but other people look at that circle in 1 year and go,
Wow.
What's
What you just do
what's
us.
going on, and,
And
the
they have a
tax,
budget, not everybody,
and that doesn't tell you what everybody else is going to do, what the cities are going to do, or the schools as well, because it's that whole entire consolidated tax rate. So if the county is raising taxes in the city and, and the school too. So it's very confusing, from a taxpayer standpoint, when it does go up.
Who did it to me?
Who did it to me
Mhm.
and how long? You don't know the 200,000.
Yeah.
When you get your tax bill.
Yeah,
So it's certainly just, options for the board to consider. It would be cost efficient, knowing that those dates and that debt's getting paid off as fast as possible. But certainly, property tax owners are gonna see it, we would see it.
What about-
So I thought when you presented to us that you said that the blended option had the old bond and the new stuff all in one, which is the 56 cents. Is that correct? Okay, so it's not, you're still paying the 300,000 and the 56 cents. It's all together now, right?
Yeah, it's all together, the old bond and,
Okay.
and both would be, would be at 56.
thickly,
Yeah.
trying to look at me is, not having this 5-year problem again down the road.
Yeah.
But it'd be you'd have to raise funds to pay off.
Right, yeah, I just wanted to,
what about like a hybrid of like, just throwing ideas out, a 75 flat, and we could pay, like, we were talking about, and then we could pay things down faster
Certainly.
and save interest there, but not hit everybody in the short 1 year. Does that make sense?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, there's a million different
I
ways that
know.
we can look at it. I just kind of said, okay, we've been at about 60 cents and kind of tried to see, where can we stay within 60 cents and where this is. Certainly, we can push everything up and and do a tax hike, as well. I could structure this over 3 years and, the way that it's with the debt service levy is literally what the payment is the requirement of what the county has to raise to make that payment. So,
So just think about that interest. I mean, we're paying interest, now are we paying for something we don't have, but we're paying interest on something that we don't have. And that to me, it's like interest is, obviously, no, you don't get anything for it. So my thought process is I hate to keep tacking the interest on the taxpayers for something that we don't have and continuing to do it for things that we do have, right?
one thing to consider with the existing bonds is, sure, it should have never been 15 years, but you did buy shelters and you put a bunch of site civil work in as part of that original contract. So there are hard buildings that you bought that will remain. We're not replacing those. So you are still paying for something. It's not everything is going to the trash can. Do I think it's $2 million worth? Absolutely not, but, you are paying for something. So I don't know, I mean, I get where you're coming from too, is I think the same way, but, we've been saying for 5 years that encouraging that bond gets paid off faster, and obviously there's never any extra money, so we can't do that. So, maybe this is an option to structure like you're talking.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about all the stuff that's gonna fall off in the next few years anyway, so then that money that we're now taking, if we did a flat 75 or 80 cent, when the,
So you just only have 1 year left on the 2018. So really the only out, for fiscal year 27, so really the only debt service levy bond that you have outstanding is this, United One bond.
yeah, so as those fall off, and we're gonna have stuff that falls off this fiscal year, did fall off.
Mhm.
So as those keep falling off, I mean, the schools do this and I criticize them, but like, we're not increasing your taxes, but now we're gonna buy something else with that money that we could have come down with. But I'm thinking either way, we have to do this, there is no choice. And so I'm thinking, can we use that money that's falling off to pay this down faster to overall save the taxpayers?
And that's kind of in those,
Is that-
blend- it's in
yeah.
the blend, it's
Okay.
in those options right now to kind of to basically, and on that right side, will show that overall levy of where you're at. And I've, kind of blended blended the current with the new payment to
Yep.
get you to that 56 cents and that 60 cents.
So if I understood you, right, no matter what option we would go on this bonding, hybrid or this option 2 or 3, if future boards down the road found some funding and are able to put towards this to eliminate that 5-year gap, you were saying that you would just pay from the bottom of so you'd still make your payment, but just, so you would shorten up the bond,
You're shortening up.
which that would be the goal.
Yeah, because otherwise you just pay, you still would have everything outstanding, so you always pay the longest part off because it's the most cost efficient. Otherwise you're looking at still having interest payment for 1 year, then it kind of jumps back up again. So it always makes sense to pay off that longest part first. But you do have once those call dates are in place, you have the flexibility to pay off any or all the bonds. So, from a timing standpoint.
Yeah,
what
let's
you're
think about
thinking,
this, yeah.
we can put some of those options together from a timing standpoint, from a budgeting standpoint for fiscal year 2027. The county's going to be starting to work on that budgeting process. And so if you're wanting to plan to have a payment in fiscal year 2027, you don't necessarily have to have the full bond closed and in place in order to place that levy. You do have to go through that hearing process that I mentioned of holding that public hearing. And then you can hold what is called a pre-levy. So basically you've gone through the process to gain the authority to borrow. And then we do a calculation based off of what we believe that first payment or where you want that first payment to be and that levy, and you pass that resolution. And then it can be included into your budget for that first year's payment, and we structure that first year's payment based off of your pre-levy. We close on the bonds sometime in the next six months after that. And then you've already, in your new budget, you're levying for that first year payment. You certainly don't have to go through that process, but if you are doing this project, it makes sense to go ahead and get some sort of levy in place for that. So you're starting to pay principal off right away versus interest and trying to find some other source of payment.
Don't go making anything yet. Let me think about it over the weekend. I don't want you to do too much. Let me think about it and see.
Any other questions? You'll be in contact with Heidi and discuss it.
Yeah.
And then we'll have the next week's agenda to discuss. Make sure we don't forget that.
I'll go out and shake some money trees over the weekend.
I guess I have a question for you guys. What do you want from us next steps, or what are you thinking as far as the Raycom agreement and the funding thing is all that, but what do you want, what's your timeline, what are you thinking? I know we had originally said the end of October. Obviously, we're there, so, I guess I don't know if you want the Raycom agreement on the agenda for some point here, or if you want to wait a couple weeks, or.
I'd say we wait 2 weeks.
Okay.
Let's make sure let's get some of our financing in place.
Yeah,
The agreement, that's my opinion.
I think just a good,
Yeah, you just want you guys just let us know when you want to be on, be on the down, let me know, and we'll get on the agenda again. And
I see a good day to dig around on
Let's
this.
put 2 weeks out so we don't forget to keep everything on schedule. 10 o'clock, 2 weeks.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah,
Happy Halloween.
Rob,
Ben.
he's hollering at you. She's hollering at you.
Hey, Rob,
Got the squeaks.
I know, as far as heat's going.
Sounds good.
I know.
Maybe with the Kevin, look at Kevin, say, I must have got to it.
What's wrong? I hate you, Chris.
We're still on.
Easily done.
People can know.
Thanks, Kevin.
Come on, Super K.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so I guess, was there anything else to discuss today?
I don't think so, my brain's fried.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. We are adjourned.
Are you off?